Cloud. Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the Green Film Festival of San Francisco 2022. I'm Jason Willis. I'm one of the programmers here at SF Indie Fest. We are now on the Q&A for the shorts program Ignition. Thanks for joining us. We're very lucky to have filmmakers from around the country representing. And let me go and have them introduce themselves really quick so we know who we're talking to. I'll point you out. Tiffany, if you'd introduce yourself, where you are, and what film you're associated with, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany Lynn and I'm writer, director, and editor of Poachers, and I am currently calling in from Los Angeles.
Fantastic. And maybe get closer to your mic or just speak up a little bit. Derek, how about you? You're next on my screen.
Hi, I'm Derek. I wrote, directed, and acted in my short film Ignition, and I'm coming from Orlando, Florida.
Thanks for joining us. Lindsay, how about yourself?
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I directed Why I'm a Vegan, and I'm calling in from Los Angeles.
Glad to have you here. And last but not least, Yasina.
Hi everyone, I'm Yesenia Novoa. I'm from Mexico City, and I'm directed City of the Cunning.
And what filmmaker's that?
Oh, she's very important. This is Bagel.
Bagel. Hi, Bagel. And what film is Bagel associated with?
Bagel is actually the CEO of the production company that made Why I'm a Vegan. So
great. Well, since we're on Bagel, how were you inspired to make this film? How did the film come about? I'm going to ask this of all of you. What was the spark that started this cute little short, excellent little short?
Thanks. I have been vegan or vegetarian since 2005, and have always felt strongly about it as a way to answer a number of problems like, climate change and all of the animal cruelty and human health, all of these things. I just think it's a bit of a cure-all. And a few years ago, I started working with kind of an activist hero of mine, Moby, the musician, whose activism I think is really incredible. I mean, he kind of is unabashed in his approach to activism, especially animal activism. And we've been working together for a while on a number of projects, and something that I think is meaningful, because telling someone that veganism is great is apparently super annoying. So we're always trying to figure out ways to say that it's awesome without saying you have to do it. So we thought something meaningful is people's personal journeys to how they found veganism. And I think Moby's is especially meaningful and well documented, but we wanted to take a really fun approach to his journey to his own activism. And so we started off with personal photos and it built into animation. And I was like, just give me a voiceover and I'll put something together. And that's kind of what we did. And I had an animator come in and animate parts, and it just kind of evolved like that.
Cool. There's not enough time to go and have multiple questions for each of you, because I could just spend time on all your films for an hour. And I've got many questions for you right now just based on that opening. But the other filmmakers, what was your inspiration, your start for your movie? Yasina, how about you?
Yeah, but I'm start this short documentary because I'm a bicycle user. And I live in Mexico City, and here in Mexico City, we are like 23 million of people living here. And we have a lot of problems in mobility and public transportation, but also we have a lot of problems with our government because they don't believe in bicycle users. They only believe in cars, making freeways and spending money to make refineries. And it's like a cycle. Like you need to buy a car because you need to buy gas for that car. And that two options make the freeways and make a lot of health problems with us I mean, we have a lot of pollution, we have obesity problems, and I want to make this short film about not only bicycle, it's an option, a healthy option, just the other way. The other thing I want to make in this short film, it's about the car. It's not a problem. It's not the only problem, because it's the way we use the car. It's the way we just want to be comfortable with ourselves.
Yep.
And not thinking in another one, in another people, in another, and the guy he's taking the bicycle because he believes in that, and he believes in health, and he believes in his body. And I don't know, I believe when this pandemic start, I was believing the situation is gonna be better, but it get worse and worse, because the people it's thinking just individually, and they don't want to use public transportation, because
I feel like, yeah, I feel like if just your two films alone, Lindsay and Yasina, if those topics, I mean, they're huge topics. If we could just go and change our dietary habits and our dependency on the car, we'd save the world. I mean, those are huge, but I don't think we can save the sun. That's just going to do what it does, right, Derek? What was your inspiration for your film?
Yeah, my film, it went through like a lot of like evolution. I looked at my phone recently and realized that in my notes app, I had started like the seed of this idea like 5 years ago. It's my girlfriend, we had just started dating. My girlfriend's the girl in the photos, if you saw the film. She had a lot of plants, and she was going out of town and asked me to
On the refrigerator that likes gardens.
Yes, yeah. And so when she went out of town and asked me to take care of her plants, I was like, oh man, what if something happens? And like, just my imagination went crazy. Like, what if the sun died? Like, what am I going to do? And so that was kind of the seed. And then, a couple years later, like, unfortunately, I lost a handful of people that were dear to me. And it kind of just like those two ideas, like, that's why it took so long, is like they needed to gel. Just this idea of like this zany idea of like, what would you do, to honor somebody that, you were missing in just the most absurd scenario.
So how long? It took about 5 years from conception to completion?
Yeah. I think if I had made it like 5 years ago, it would have been really bad. Like that version of it was atrocious. So I'm glad that it took so long.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable and humorous. And the message in that I get from it is like, even though it's a comedy, it's like we take action individually. Lindsay and Yasina, how long did your movies take?
Mine took about, I think from its inception, took about 5 months to put together, but that was just because the animation took a while. A lot of the photographs of him and like him.
That's quick.
Together. Yeah, it came together relatively.
Yasina, how long yours take?
I think like 2 years and a half.
Okay, that's pretty fast too. And
Yeah.
Tiffany, how about you? What was your inspiration and how long did it take you?
Yeah, so I originally read this article in the New York Times in 2019 about these like 3 men who were arrested on the coast of California for having like over $600,000 of succulents that they were planning to like ship to Asia. And I just thought this was such like an insane story about something that like people don't normally like think about, just like these plants like kind of on the coast. I thought it was a really, really interesting story, but I wanted to do it from the perspective of like 2 people that you never would think would do such a thing. And so naturally it was like 2 teenage girls. And that was kind of where the story started from. So last January, I actually started writing this with my friend, and we ended up kind of, just like making it she shot it in June and then ended up finishing it this year. So I guess it was like a year-long process, but yeah, we were just really interested in kind of exploring, not necessarily like, we're not condoning poaching by any means, but we just wanted to explore a little bit more of like the nuance of like why someone would do such a thing, and kind of these like effects of greed on both the environment as well as your interpersonal relationships.
And it's based on a true story.
Yeah, it's inspired by a true story.
Fantastic. So what's one thing you guys kind of learned about yourselves or about the world or about environments after making your movie? Has it changed you at all? Tiffany, you're not going to steal succulents now, right?
Like, no, I will not.
But did you have more appreciation maybe for your surroundings, or
Definitely.
understand the way people are?
Yeah, I think like through researching this film, I got to learn a lot more about both kind of this issue and like these like yeah, a lot of these issues relating to like poaching of these plants, as well as kind of learning more about the greater like native plant appreciation in California. There's like a really thriving community of people who are kind of working to restore yeah, like more like native plants within the state. So like the California Native Plant Society is sort of this organization that I personally found really helpful in sort of kind of like seeing more of this like landscape.
What's
Yeah,
the organization called?
it's the California Native Plant Society. So they do a lot of work both in like legislation and education, and like yeah, just like promoting native
Right.
plants within California.
Right. Well, it's funny. The motivation maybe behind your character simply was financial, right? I mean, ultimately to pay for school.
Mhm.
Um, and I would think that a lot of our issues with our relationship with the environment and the world is driven by greed, if you will, or the finances. Even Lindsay, in your narrative, if you will, Moby, saw how our dietary habits, eating meat, is kind of profit driven as well, right?
Yeah, and subsidized by the government. And so like the meat lobby is a very, very powerful thing. And there's plenty of scientists getting paid to say that it's not as harmful to the planet and to human beings as it is. There's just a real machine behind animal agriculture to keep it going. So there, I mean, there's kind of like this mystery around it of what we're being told and the science that's out there. But then there's also, the element of, I look at Bagel, my dog, is sitting in the corner, and she has a rich emotional life, just like any cow or pig or chicken would have a rich emotional life. So there's that element of it too, of just the compassion. It really just like, and his story is about how he felt his compassion for animals more than he felt compassion from people often, which led him down the path of even looking into it. And then once he opened that door, it kind of exploded with all of this other information of those lobbies and of the other harms of it that kind of made it this thing that made him the activist that he is now.
I could relate. I related to that movie very intimately and closely. I mean, I almost felt like I was telling a little bit of my story. However, I'm not a vegan, but maybe I will be after watching your movie. I serious, no joke. I was like, but I love eating meat. It's gonna be hard to change, and I also love my automobile. Yasina, how do I get on my bike more? Right? I mean, it's some of the quotes in your movie were like, we're making more cars than people, and we're building cities around. We already haven't built the cities around the automobile. How do we go back, right? Anyways, talk about that a little bit.
I think it's very difficult to go back. I think it's more important believe and try to make a strategy, because we are a lot of people with different needs. So this short film, it's about bicycle, but mostly I think it's about the mobility in general.
Yeah.
With public transportations, with cars, with bicycles, with skateboards, etc., etc. And I believe, I don't know, it's like a collective work, because if I go with my bicycle, I'm not gonna do a different in my city. We need to be more, because if we, I don't know, I think the problem in these times is believe we just gonna make a change individually, but we need to try to think in collective, in community. And in Mexico City, we have like before the pandemic and after pandemic, we have more. bicycle users, because I think the pandemic and one tiny sector of the people, they believe we can change. We can change, I don't know, the pollution's levels in our city, because it's enough and it's very unhealthy.
Yeah. And, if we individually do things, take actions, ride the bike, for example, if we could ride our bike closer to our food source, which is vegetarian or plant-based, then we're on a good start. And Derek, in your film, there's a scene that's similar to this where the guy's building the spaceship to go to the sun, to save the sun. And the neighbor's like, well, just hurry up because it's blocking my sun to my pool or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's a great metaphor or analogy to, like, here's some of you filmmakers, environmentalists doing some, taking some action, but the rest of us are they're waiting to have people fix it for them. They're bystanders.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to show, like, there's the guy who, like you said, he very selfishly just kind of wants to take care of. And then there's also the other neighbor, the opposite neighbor is a baker, and she's just given up. Like, she's throwing out her wedding cake. So I did kind of like want to show, like, probably the two most common, like, reactions to. And then the third is that, like, kind of the theme of the movie is just start anywhere. This guy, like, the odds, realistically, nobody's gonna build a rocket and make it to the sun in their backyard. But, like, this guy, he just sat down and he's like, well, I guess I have to save the world. Like, and that was kind of the theme I wanted to get across. Is like, you got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? You make no progress, no matter how insurmountable the odds seem.
Those almost are the three players in the world right now. There's the one that takes action, or the people that are getting out the information, the message, they're having the conversations. And that's what's great about your films. You're actually promoting the conversations about our planet, about issues addressing us today. And then there's the neighbor that's just like, well, I don't want things to be bad. I just want someone to fix it for me. And the other one that just kind of resigns to, I've given up. Where am I going with this? You guys have hope for the future? Anyone want to chime in? What's your hope for the future? Do you think we have a chance with, especially with, getting this message out? Lindsay? Or, go ahead.
Oh, I actually really do. And I've noticed, even like this next generation, like the Gen Z kids, are all so much more motivated to make change and go into careers that can make change.
Yeah.
I think that, like, the word is getting out. The word is among the people, and it's doing its thing. I think it's just kind of simmering. And I think that the next generation has a lot to do, but they want a planet to live on, and they want their kids to have a planet to live on. And I think that the impact is coming across. I do believe that.
I think all your films in particular, I mean, we have a lot of great films, environmental films here in the festival. For me personally, your films make the conversation more accessible. I think that's where it starts, just having conversations, and all your films are very enjoyable, so we can talk about it. So thank you for that. Good work. Tiffany, I think I cut you off.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, in regards to, like, my film and, like, specifically, and, like, the issues that we touched on, I am very hopeful for kind of like the future of, like, Dudleya's, like the succulents in California. Recently, in September, actually, there's a bill passed, AB 223, which actually directly legislates like against plant poaching, and kind of increases these, like, the penalties for poaching Dudleyas. So hopefully, for, like, generations to come, like, people can still appreciate a lot of these plants, like, in the natural environment, and just really kind of enjoying, like, what California has to offer.
Right. Hopeful, Derek, Yasina, are you hopeful?
Definitely. I think that, like, as we hear people, like, complain about this kind of stuff, from, certain parts of the population, just they don't want to hear about this kind of stuff, and they complain. But I think that means we're gaining ground, because it wasn't long ago this stuff wasn't being talked about at all. So, that's progress.
Right, for sure. Yasina?
Yes, I have a lot of hope. And I think, like Lindsay says, we have a new generations talking about all the problems we have, but also I think our generation, we are trying to fix a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the center of the hope trying to fix it.
Yeah. What was something maybe you hope that audiences walk away with from watching your movie? All of you. Anyone can chime in here.
Oh,
What's the
I mean,
takeaway?
I guess I always think that the number one most important thing is compassion and living a compassionate life that helps other people to live better lives. So any choice that you can make that improves the world around you. And I do think that being a vegan is one, and seeing someone else's journey to why they decided to do it can be helpful. So I think that growing compassion,
Hmm.
one thing I hope people walk away with for themselves and others and animals too.
How about anyone else? What's something you hope a takeaway is for an audience member? How they leave feeling or knowing something?
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, thank you. I think the most important thing is try to get out your comfort zone, because we have a lot of things to do and a lot of things to fix, and it's not comfortable.
You may have just simplified the answer to our environmental problems, uh, but it's harder than we think. Is there something they can take away from your movie, Tiffany?
Don't poach succulents. Definitely.
Really
um,
bad.
but yeah, I think also just kind of recognizing when you need to kind of take matters into your own hands and stand up for yourself and make the right choices, regardless of what
I
goes
did
on.
like how you ended your movie because I believe this too. I think Indigenous people do this well, where your character went and took the one stolen succulent and planted it back. Right? Is that am I remember?
Yeah.
I love that you ended that way.
Hmm. Thank
You
you.
know, if we all just replenish what we used.
Hmm. Yeah, just respect Mother Nature.
Hmm. Derek, is there a takeaway from yours
Yeah, I
on
mean,
screen?
I'd love them to be like emboldened to just like it's to know it's never done to try, like unironic, just earnest effort. It's not something you should ever be embarrassed over, no
Mm,
matter what you're facing.
yeah, very true. And so, what's next for these films? What's next for you guys? Are you guys environmental filmmakers? Are you going to make another documentary, Yasina? Are you guys going to make similar uh, genre films, or what's next?
We are actually, Moby and I are working on a documentary about the animal save movement. And the animal save movement basically holds vigils for animals going to slaughter after they've been on the road for many days. And there's these communities in all these cities around the world. So we're working on a piece about that.
Fantastic. Anyone else? Derek, what's next for you?
I'm working on another short. It's not necessarily environmental. It's just I tend to work in like a tone more than I work in genre, and so I've got like another kind of magical realism type deal I'm working on.
Tiffany, another project coming up?
Yeah, I've just been kind of working on a few different projects. I'm working on another short right now that's like not environmental, but maybe one day I'll go back to kind of this coaching universe and kind of try to expand it. So we'll see.
Yasina, how about you? What are you working on?
We are working in Mexican American families documentary.
Hmm.
It's a long one, but I don't know, maybe in the future I'm gonna try another subject in environmental film.
Fantastic. And so, what's one piece of advice you would give either filmmakers or your fellow humans for saving the planet? Stop eating animals, right? I mean, is that the answer, Lindsay? I mean, I kind of believe it is.
I think it's an answer. But I also think that being so strict, maybe like do your best. Just try, just put in the effort. If you can eat meat once a week to start, like just do your best, just try. And I think that goes with being with not eating meat. I think it goes with limiting your plastic use, with limiting how much you're driving your car. Like just do your best.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, take one small, 1% reduced.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I eat a lot less meat. I maybe 2 or 3 times a week as opposed to every night of the week. Right. Not that that's even healthy, but
Everything.
yeah, everything helps. How about some of you guys? Advice What's something you recommend to do?
I guess it just goes right along with just, making sure you're trying, but just being more aware. I mean, like I was bummed out for a long time. My apartment complex doesn't recycle, but then it hit me that like I'm going to my local grocery store like twice a week and they have bins there. So it's like, why am I not just taking my stuff there? Like for too long, I was just throwing stuff out. I was like, this is bonkers. And and so it's like, if I just like been more conscious of that earlier, it's a simple solution. So, just kind of being aware of your habits and stuff like that, because they're really ingrained, but it's worth, just checking your habits every once in a while.
Do you think your films and or watching films like these changes a person, changes you? Did you take action towards something different? Are you a different person? Or do you think, I mean, it's influenced me. I'm wondering if you guys think these are effective ways to go and make change.
I think content is one of the most important ways that you can bring awareness and help people make change. My boyfriend always says he's one documentary away from being a vegan, and so therefore he avoids them. But I think like watching them and being aware of like, movies like Blackfish, movies like Cowspiracy and What the Health, like these are really changing the way that people view their effect on the planet. I think content is unbelievably important.
Yeah, I think like whatever people can do to kind of educate themselves more, whether that's like going and like reading more news articles or like watching documentaries and things like that. And then also kind of doing research on like what you yourself can do, whether that's like your own personal habits or even like calling your like Congress people and like legislators and trying to enact change that way as well on like a bigger level.
Yeah. Yasina, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was thinking all this content, I think they grow our empathy, and I think it's a value very important in this generation because we need to be empathy with everything. I think with my short documentary, it's about bicycles, so be more empathy with the person it's in the bicycle. Be more empathy. Your time, it's not more important than the life in that person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that.
True, true, so true. Well, we got time for one more maybe question or one more comment. I love what all of you are saying. And as I said before, I could talk to you probably for hours, and this has been a great Q&A, because I believe your content, all of you is helping to save the planet. Any last words you guys want to add? Anything you want to say?
I guess to all filmmakers, keep filmmaking. keep making, keep doing it. Just get out and do it. I think in all like creativity that the end is doing something that brings awareness to the crisis that we're in is unbelievably valuable. So just make it, just throw it at the wall. It all helps.
Yeah, I mean, on the same vein, I mean, the best camera's the one you have, the best microphone's the one you have access to. Like, just don't wait. Storytelling is the most effective means of communication. Don't deny us your voice if you've got something you want to say. Like I said, just don't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I love what Yesenia said about empathy, and I think that like extends to kind of all aspects of like both life and like filmmaking. So yeah, just keep making stuff that helps us be more empathetic with each other.
Yeah, just do it. It's not about money. It's not about have a big camera. Just film the message and send it to internet.
Well, yes, and you guys keep filming the message and making movies and sharing your voices. I'd like to think that the answer to saving the planet is right here within these group of filmmakers. You guys, your movies, truly some good solutions, I believe. I wish we had more time. You guys are awesome. I hope we meet each other in person someday. But in the meantime, congratulations and thanks for making your movies.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you very
Great meeting
much.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody. And hopefully I see you guys soon.
Thank you.